It is better to make a good pot than to cook a good meal, especially the old Pakistani iron pot that has been beaten thousands of times. For Pakistanis, delicious food is a belief on the tip of the tongue, and a handmade traditional iron pot is the key to the inheritance of Lao Pakistani delicious food. Today, let us go to this small pot workshop in Pakistan to see how they use ordinary iron sheet materials to make exquisite and durable traditional iron pots. First of all, the brand new iron sheet is used to make the raw materials of the iron pot are different from the waste oil drums and other materials we have seen in the past. The iron sheets used in this workshop also have very clear factory codes. The first step to make an iron pot is to use the original specification to draw a circular mark of standard size on the iron sheet. Then you can use a scissors to roughly cut the iron sheet to speed up the material processing. When the iron sheet is roughly divided into small pieces, the workers will use a switch to cut the excess part of the iron sheet. The cutting process requires precise rotation of the iron sheet while operating the switch to cut the iron sheet in detail. Then the iron sheet is put into the punching machine. The simple punch driven by the motor is used to punch and shape the iron sheet, which causes the workers to have hand and foot injuries. In order to cope with the strong impact of the punch and avoid the sharp edge of the iron sheet from scratching their feet, the workers will use simple tire rubber as a protective. As the punch continuously impacts the iron sheet is gradually shaped into the shape of an iron pot. The entire stamping process seems very dangerous, but in fact it is not safe at all. Once it slips, it is either a mistake or a loss. This process mainly involves hammering the iron sheet thousands of times to increase its density, thereby achieving the purpose of increasing the service life of the iron pot. After the iron pot is hammered, it needs to be placed in a hydraulic press, and the hydraulic rod is pressed upward. The coating film is combined with the concave film on the bottom to further shape the iron pot so that it can be smoother and smoother while ensuring that the shape of the iron pot is more standardized and unified. Then the worker will start the grinding wheel machine to finely grind the edge of the iron pot to avoid scratching the human body during use. However, the inner wall of the iron pot is still relatively rough at this time, so it needs to be further polished and polished. To improve the smoothness of the entire iron pot surface, the inner wall needs to be polished several times to finally achieve a smooth and clean inner wall. Next, the worker will wear 2 iron paper sleeves on the big toes of both feet and then use a long-lasting cloth to carefully clean the surface of the iron needle. Then the iron pot can be turned upside down on the iron needle. Use a sledgehammer to hammer the back of the iron pot vigorously. At this time, the paper sleeves on the worker's feet play an auxiliary role in positioning the iron. The function of the pot. This step is mainly to make a uniform dotted pattern on the inner wall of the iron pot. The whole processing process looks very simple, but in fact it requires workers to hammer at a fixed rhythm and angle. By making dotted patterns on the surface of the iron pot, the local density of the iron sheet is increased after being stressed, so that a reinforcement point similar to an anchor can be formed, thereby dispersing the heat effect of cooking and preventing the pot body from being damaged by high temperature or heavy pressure. Then the workers use anchors to carefully fix the 2 ends of the iron pot. The pot made of steel bars is now ready. So after watching the whole process, what do you think of the traditional iron pot made in this way?